Namaskar everyone. So today we have a live session and I will be answering all the important questions that you have been asking, and we will discuss is it dangerous to strive to become an extraordinary person? Do we really need to leave a mark in history? Is that what Supreme Consciousness wants? Can one attain superpowers, Siddhis? And what is the trap for the ego? What to do when there is no energy or sense of purpose in life? Can meditation replace antidepressants? Why does this tradition not support psychedelics like marijuana or mushrooms? How to respond when someone provokes aggression in you? How to tell the difference between genuine spiritual challenge and self-deception? What comes after the basic meditation course? What is the path forward towards self-realization? So first of all, I am very happy to be with you again. I will start answering those questions, and I will be watching for your comments, and in the end I will answer the questions which are coming from the live chat. So let's go. Is it dangerous to strive to become an extraordinary person? My recent understanding about the project of meditation steps, I want to drive this topic because real, authentic spiritual life, it requires you to be extraordinary. It requires you to be heroic. There are moral principles of yoga which are called yama and niyama. And yama, they are prohibitions, like do not do this, do not do that. For example, ahimsa, not harm anyone with thoughts, words or actions. Satya, do not lie, speak the truth. Asteya, ahimsatya, asteya, do not steal. So there are prohibitions. And those prohibitions, they allow you to stay as you are, not to degenerate, because there is always a possibility of degeneration. So when you follow yamas, you do not degenerate. And niyamas, they drive you towards your development. And there are 5 niyamas also. Shaucha, purity. So constant purification of the body, of the external body, means we are taking bath, we maintain the cleanliness of the clothes, and also internal body, the cleanliness of the organs, what kind of food we consume, do we drink water, also we fast to purify the body. That's internal cleanliness. So it is an active process of purification, and also purification of the mind. The mind needs to be purged of jealousy, of anger, of greed, of pride, and things like that. So then goes santosha, the active effort to remain happy, to maintain the state of contentedness. Today we were just talking with friends. I was telling them my experiences of my first years of Acharya life. I became a monk, and then I started to move from city to city, and there were no really the disciples, there were no students who can take care of me. So I was living like, sleeping bag and one yoga mat, and I would live anywhere. I would live in the sauna, I would live in the kind of sport complex and things like that. I had a mission to go all over different places, different city, and to propagate the Dharma. So, and I tell that now when I compare my life, I think how we can even dream of being unhappy. We have such a good life, we have such a great life, everything is there. We have all knowledge, we have all the opportunities. If we are just a little bit focused, we can achieve great goals in our lives. So santosha means an effort to constantly feel happy, to be happy, to maintain this awareness of happiness. Then there is tapa. Tapa is heroic state of mind. You are achieving something. You're moving towards some goal. And there are two goals. One goal is spiritual goal. You're trying to elevate your consciousness. That is an effort. Sometimes people say that meditation is not an effort. Yes, it is an effort. Maybe meditation itself, when it starts, dhyana is called dhyana. It comes already effortlessly. You can imagine like the rocket is taking off from the ground and flying towards the sun. So at some point, the gravitation of the sun and gravitation of the earth, they will equalize. And after that point, the gravitation of the sun will be greater than the gravitation of the earth. The pull of the sun will be greater. So that point is when you start falling on the sun. So similarly, in meditation, first you need to break the gravitation of the earth and while moving towards the sun. So you are breaking the gravitation of the material life while you're moving towards the spiritual life, while you're moving to the supreme consciousness, to divinity. But your mind is still so much connected with the external world. So that process, it requires a great effort. Just like a rocket is starting from the ground, it burns a lot of fuel and creates tremendous energy. But then later on, once you cross that point, then you start falling on the sun. Basically, you experience the attraction of the divinity, and you just want to remain in that state of meditation, and there is no more effort involved. But the process itself, it is called sadhana. Sadhana means an effort to complete oneself. An effort to complete oneself. So meditation is not effortless. Meditation requires a huge effort. So tapa means accepting that struggle. Tapa means accepting that effort as the very essence of life. Meditation requires this kind of hero. And another part of tapa is being in the world and serve the world, help the world. That is also heroic. So, and then two last principles: Svadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhana. Svadhyaya means to constantly read literature, to upgrade your understanding, and Ishvara Pranidhana means to have the consciousness, the supreme consciousness, as the goal of your life. So these principles, if you study and you realize, they require you to be an extraordinary person. Somebody asked me this question. They said, Dada, is it not ego to become an outstanding personality, to become an extraordinary personality? Then I answered that, you see that what in the world is called an extraordinary person, in the world of spiritual teachings, amongst the spiritual disciples, it is the most normal person. This is how you are to be, just to achieve the baseline. And once you mold yourself like that, you find that life without effort is really tasteless. There is no, like, life without sadhana is basically, you feel it like a futile. You are just, sleeping, eating, traveling, working. There is no excitement there. When there is this element of effort, you are achieving something, then your soul is awakening. So yes, to be an extraordinary person is important for a yogi. It is dangerous, of course. Of course it is dangerous. Like if you are climbing a very tall building and you are standing there on the roof, there is a danger. If you fall down from the chair is one thing, but if you fall down from the house is another thing. Of course there is a danger, but also there are rules and regulations which create safety. They create precautions, so you will not smash yourself against the ground. So the principles, as I was mentioning now, the yama and niyama, they create that kind of safety net. So with those principles, you will not be able to fall down. You will always go higher, higher, and higher. Okay, so that is the question. Do we really need to leave a mark in history? Is that what the Supreme Consciousness wants? Yes, I believe we need to leave the mark in history. But the mark, not everybody has to be an astronaut, not everybody has to be an engineer or architect or a politician or something like that. You can be a very, very simple person, but you do leave a mark with your bliss which is within you. If you are a happy person, if you are a joyful person, if you are a service-minded person, you are leaving the mark in the history. And that mark, it can be even greater than the politicians leave, because maybe with your love you will touch somebody and you will awaken somebody's divinity, somebody's spirituality, and that person will do a lot of good for the world. So yes, I think we should try to leave a mark in the history with our behavior, with our conduct, and with our love, and with our happiness, internal happiness. Okay, so that's the answer. Can one attain superpowers, Siddhis, and what is the trap for the ego? Okay, Siddhis. What is Siddhi? Bhalishyatiti Vishvasa Siddhir Pratama Lakshanam, Dvityam Shada Yuktam, Trityam Guru Pujanam, Chaturta Samatabhava, Pancham Mendra Nigraha, Shashtancha Pramitahara, Saptaim Naiva Vidyate. In this context, Siddhi is success. So there are many kinds of Siddhi. What is Siddhi really? Because normally by Siddhis, people understand supernatural powers, such as power to levitate, or power to know the future, power to know the past, power to convert your mind in the form of the small point and to travel in the form of that point, power to become light, power to become heavy, power to enlarge your mind and to know the secrets of the universe. So those powers traditionally understood as Siddhis. So Siddhis, but if you see the very broad definition of the Siddhi, Siddhi means simply success, achieving success. Like for example, if you are achieving a perfection in singing, means you have achieved the Siddhi in singing. Actually, to achieve the Siddhi, to achieve this perfection, you need to also overcome ego. There is a danger. If something is given to you just without an effort, you will be proud. You will feel like, oh, it is mine. What is the ego actually? Ego is the feeling of possession. For example, this car belongs to me, so I feel proud. This car belongs to me. This knowledge belongs to me. I feel proud. So this feeling of possession is the ego. And if you achieve Siddhi and you feel that this power actually belongs to me, then you develop the ego. But if you maintain a balanced state of mind, if you believe that all powers, they come from the Supreme Consciousness, the Supreme Consciousness has lended me these powers, endowed me with these powers so that I can do service to the world, then the ego does not develop. So should we try to achieve Siddhis? Definitely. I think we have to try to achieve Siddhis. But when we are achieving them, we should not be attached to them, and we should not be deluded with this idea that I own those powers. These powers, they can come and they can go in one moment. Even your intellectual power, it can go in one moment. It can disappear. The very deep scholar, next day he can become a fool. A rich man, next day he can become a beggar and pauper. So all those things, they come and go. So the secret of life is to always remember that these powers, they come from the divine entity. Okay? Then what to do when there is no energy or sense of purpose in life. Yeah, the lack of purpose is the greatest disease in the present world. We live here not simply to survive. Our purpose is not to work, to eat, to sleep, to make family, to leave the offspring. This is not the nature of the human being. If you study deeply, you will understand that there are three kinds of objects. There are physical objects, there are biological objects, and there are spiritual entities also. So the physical science is the science which is learning about carbons, oxygen, nitrogen, different chemical substances, about metals, about materials. So this is called Vastu Dharma, the study of the physical world. And then there is a Jaivid Dharma, the study of the living world, biology, medicine, psychology. And then there is Bhagavata Dharma, the study of the spiritual world. So human being is physical, no doubt, is living being, also no doubt. We have our psychology, we have our emotions, we have our intellect, but we're also spiritual. So how do you become happy? You become happy by fulfilling your needs and desires, right? For example, how to make a plant happy, how to make a cucumber happy, how to make a tomato happy, by giving it all its necessary nutrients, by giving it sunlight, yeah, and different food that this plant needs, and that plant will grow happy, that plant will grow healthy. So human being also, we need, but we have many needs. Like animals do not have spiritual needs, but we do have spiritual needs. So this lack of energy comes from the lack of purpose, when we are not living our life that we are supposed to live. So how you can remedy that lack of energy? By gradual acceptance of the spiritual ideology. What is spiritual ideology? Atma mokshartam jagat hitaya cha. The liberation of the spirit and service to entire humanity, to the entire universe. That is the spiritual ideology. Once you start to act in that direction, immediately you overcome depression, you overcome this kind of unhappiness that has been haunting you. When I started to meditate, I was very deep in the state of unhappiness. Like every day was a big struggle. I would lie down and look into the ceiling, and just I was wondering, why do I exist? Because every day is such a pain of existence. Why do I exist? Why do I have to exist? Who is God? Why he has created such an unhappy universe? Why? What is the purpose of this whole creation? There is no meaning. There is only suffering here in the world. So I was actually searching for something, and I was trying to understand my friends, my classmates. When I come to university, everybody is happy, and everybody is just not thinking about any purpose and meaning of life. Why am I the only one who is thinking and who is suffering? So I was simply not satisfied with what life was offering me. When I was imagining my future, I was thinking, okay, I will finish the university. Okay, I will work. Maybe I will buy a house. Maybe I will buy a car. Maybe I marry. Then what is going to happen? And in that already, I knew that this is not enough for me. And that created such a strong pain in me, because I want happiness. And when I see this simple life, I just understand I will not be able to be happy. So I was searching for something more. I didn't know what I'm searching, but I knew that life has something more to offer. So when I learned meditation, I remember the first time I did meditation, I was struggling with my restless mind. There was like a fog in the mind. I could not concentrate properly. But this first meditation, it was like a first ray of light after very, very long dark night. And that ray of light breaks the darkness. I knew that I still have a lot of darkness in me, and I have to work to overcome it. But the darkness has lost its power. So now, slowly, I will evacuate it. I will throw it out from my consciousness. So when you start meditating, and when you start also helping others, you find the path. You start to fulfill your spiritual needs. So once your spiritual needs are fulfilled, your emotional needs are fulfilled, your intellectual needs are fulfilled, and your physical needs are fulfilled, then you can say you're a happy person. So this is how it works. So to overcome depression and to overcome lack of motivation, we need to understand what is the purpose of my life, what for I am living. There is one principle of success, of Siddhi, how to achieve Siddhi, how to achieve success. It is called Dvityam Shraddha Yuktam. Second principle is Shraddha. What is Shraddha? Shrad Satyam Dhyate iti Shraddha. It means constant understanding, constant seeing of the truth of your action is Shraddha. It means whatever I am doing, this is what I am supposed to be doing. When you have that kind of understanding, I am supposed to be doing exactly what I am doing now. Then you have this second principle of success, and you have a strong energy, strong motivation constantly flowing from you. You wake up, you are very inspired. You want to move, you want to act, you want to work because you understand what is your purpose. So you have to understand why. Why do I exist? What is my purpose of existence? And the answer is this simple. Atma Mukshartam Jagat Hitaya Cha. I exist to liberate my spirit. What is liberation of the spirit? Liberation of the spirit is achievement of happiness, is achievement of enlightenment. Why I am not free? There is anger, there is lust, there is greed, there is jealousy. All those things, they torture me. So I need to liberate myself from those. I need to come out of the dump room and go to the sunlight and enjoy the sunlight of consciousness, enjoy the sunlight of spirituality. So this is how you solve this problem. Okay. Of course, there are some physical reasons also. You know, sometimes some problems are there with the hormones. There are some psychological traumas. Also, due to those things, there can be depression and lack of motivation. In my case, my depression was purely spiritual. The moment I started to do meditation, I stopped depression. The moment I started to do meditation, I stopped, not the moment, but maybe after half a year after my practice, I stopped alcohol and smoking because I didn't need it anymore. Alcohol is not bad. Alcohol is a medicine for the condition of separation. So I'm in the state of separation and I am in pain. So how I am going to be in pain? At least I drink some alcohol, so I feel good now. So that is the situation. But the moment I started to meditate, I didn't feel any need anymore to drink, to smoke. Just so naturally, these habits, they just evaporated from my life. And my experience with alcohol was quite strong. I think last dance with alcohol was like 64 days without stop. So that was, and I never felt that alcohol is bad. I always felt like this is like a holy water, and I'm, connecting with the divine by drinking alcohol. Can meditation replace antidepressants? I wouldn't go so bold. Meditation can solve the problem of depression if the problem is spiritual. But there can be also other problems like psychological trauma. So I need to resolve that psychological trauma also. How do you resolve psychological trauma? One way, you do the therapy, and another way, you follow principles of yama and niyama. the principles of yama and niyama, the yogic principles of morality, they represent an extremely healthy consciousness. So when you start following these principles, you achieve the healthy psychology. If you can follow yama niyama, you will become healthy. Or if cannot, then psychotherapy also. Why does this tradition not support psychedelics like marijuana or mushrooms? Marijuana leaves the mark in the personality. It takes something away from you. I have many friends who have been using a lot, and then they started to meditate, and then they also stopped. But for many years I saw that mark, that somehow their soul is damaged with those substances. So what we call those substances tamoguna, or the energy of darkness. Something which made your mind unclear, make your mind, it removes the pain, it is a painkiller, but it makes your mind unclear. You lose the control to some extent. So yoga and meditation is opposite, is the achievement of control. You are moving towards the control, and you are healing yourself, really deeply healing. You are not killing. You are not taking the painkillers. Rather, you are healing the wound which is within you. So I do not recommend to use these substances. But also I do not condemn so much, because I understand that person using the substances is just trying to cure his pain of existence. So once you do meditation, you do not need those substances anymore. And also psychedelic substances, like when you do meditation and when you activate the pineal gland, sometimes I think, I'm in one kind of condition that if they would check my blood, I think they would put me in jail because my blood is full of forbidden substances, because my brain is generating those substances. The pineal gland is generating those substances, and you are so high without taking any drugs. So for me, it is very important to maintain that ability to become high without any drugs. Like this morning, I was sitting 3 hours, I was sitting and meditating, and I was so high. I was so actually blissful and happy. So this is something which comes to you with work, with labor. You build that kind of brain which constantly rewards you with great happiness, with great feelings. And I know that if I take some crude substance like alcohol, like any drugs, I'm going to disturb the balance within my brain. And that very brain, which is making me so happy today, will not be able to do so anymore. And I will need external substances, which has so many side effects. So that's why I really recommend, for me, the sobriety is the highest form of drug. If you are sober for many years, and if you are meditating, you are creating such a brain, you are creating such a glands that will constantly keep you happy, will constantly keep you very high. So don't use any substances. How to respond when someone provokes aggression in you? Yeah, that's a good question. Lord Buddha, he recommended, he said, Akrodena jine krodam, asadum saduna jine kadariyam danena, satyena alika vadinam. So he said, overcome anger with non-anger. Akrodena jine krodam, asadum saduna jine. If person is crooked, overcome that crookedness with straightforwardness. If person is miser, overcome that misery with generosity. And if somebody is dishonest, be extremely honest. So overcome with the opposite feeling. So sometimes people do provoke us, and then we become ourselves very, very angry. So in that case, what I do, I start to remember all the good things that the person have done, all the good qualities of that person, and I try to understand deeply what is driving that person. I understand, okay, this person is driven by fear. Then I can sympathize with his misery, and I can feel compassion. I really want your unhappiness to end. So when you feel compassionate, you are not feeling angry, actually. So the moment you understand the person, when you understand, my guru, he said that every person is a biological machine. So you have to love everybody. Understand this. Everyone is a biological machine. So you have to love everybody. It means everyone is moving as programmed. So there are programs, there are traumas, there are different programmings, there are different algorithms working within our structure, the physical structure. And person is not doing many things consciously. Mostly the behavior is unconscious, unintentional. Person cannot help, he is doing like that because he cannot help, he is himself suffering from that. So once you understand that kind of mechanics, you are not angry with the machine. You understand the machine is made to be like that. It is working like that. So you can only be compassionate in that situation. But when you don't understand, when you think, okay, this person is intentionally evil, then you become angry and you yourself become evil, because anger is evil. So yeah, I think you overcome with the compassion. But compassion doesn't mean that you become spineless. Compassion doesn't mean that you don't maintain your boundaries. You can be very strict, you can be even tough, but internally you feel love, and internally you feel compassion. How to tell the difference between genuine spiritual challenge and self-deception? Challenge? Yeah, challenge means when you are challenged, when you have to exert your power and exert your strengths. I think to be able to distinguish, you need to follow a spiritual guru. You need to follow a real spiritual teacher. And then slowly, what is the role of the spiritual teacher? The spiritual teacher has to awaken your own viveka, your own conscience. So within you there is a guru always. Within you there is a divine consciousness. And then the guru in the physical world appears to bring you in connection with your inner guru, with your inner self. So once you develop that taste, then this distinction, this discrimination comes to you. Yeah. So it is a matter of following discipline, spiritual discipline. Once you have the guru, once you have the teacher, and you follow for some time the spiritual teachings, and you internalize those spiritual teachers, and you realize those spiritual teachings, you realize the truth, then you can easily distinguish what is spiritual, what is unspiritual. There is a process of knowledge. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Shravana means hearing. First you have to hear the teachings without any resistance. Second, you have to digest those teachings. You have to think. Without thinking, you cannot really become a spiritual disciple. You will be a fanatical follower. You will be a religious person. But you will become spiritual if you digest the teachings, if you argue internally with the teachings, if you analyze the teachings, if you break them in so many small into atoms, and individually understand every atom and then combine them again. If you ask yourself millions of questions regarding the teachings, so in that way you will be able to digest the teachings, and you will see the truth very, very clearly. Once you see the truth, then you have to follow the truth. So these are the three portions of knowledge. Shravana, accepting knowledge, receiving knowledge. Manana, thinking, contemplating, digesting the knowledge. And then nididhyasana, integrating the knowledge. You integrate that knowledge in your life, and then you live according to that truth. So that is how the process goes. What comes after the basic meditation course? What is the path forward towards self-realization? You can practice the technique which you learn in the basic course, and that technique itself can lead you to self-realization. That technique itself can lead you to final enlightenment. But those who love sadhana, those who love practice of meditation, they can earn the right to learn advanced forms of meditation. And that advanced forms of meditation you receive directly from the teacher. You can come to me, I can teach you. Or I can recommend you a teacher who can also teach you. So you receive, there are six lessons. First lesson is called Ishvara Pranidhana, the science how to establish yourself in Supreme Consciousness. It contains all the 8 limbs of yoga: Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. All the essential components of yoga in that first lesson of meditation is extremely powerful. Once you master it a little bit, you don't want to stop it. You are doing it, you are doing it, you are doing it. You want to sit another 5 minutes, another 5 minutes, another 5 minutes. And you explore a divine world. It's so beautiful. When I started to do, very quickly I started to do, especially in the evening, in the night, I would sit like 11 o'clock until 12 o'clock. I would sit 1 hour, 1.5 hours, really enjoying that nectar of the divine consciousness. So that is the very, very great lesson, very powerful lesson. Special technique, you are receiving your personal mantra, you are receiving your personal chakra, and then you meditate with that. Then there is second lesson. Second lesson you practice in day-to-day life. Before every action, you meditate. You meditate for 15 seconds, 20 seconds with a special mantra which is also imparted to you. This lesson, it is called Madhuvidya, or honey knowledge, which turns every activity, like for example you are sweeping the floor or you are doing the dishes. Every action you turn into sweetness. Every action becomes blissful. You be happy in every action. Then there is a lesson called Tattvadharana. Tattvadharana, or concentration on the tattvas. There are 5 tattvas in the body, represented by chakras. Muladhara chakra, Svadhisthana chakra, Manipura chakra, Anahata chakra, Vishuddha chakras. In these 5 chakras, there are major blocks on the path of energy. So energy cannot rise. When you start to meditate, you rise your spiritual energy upwards. But that energy cannot rise because there is blockages. In every chakra there is a blockage. So energy cannot pass. They are the gateways. Until and unless you open those gateways, you cannot achieve enlightenment. You cannot achieve that state of higher consciousness. So that practice is the practice of the opening of the gateways, the chakras. Then there is pranayama practice, a special pranayama connected with the spiritual idea, not just like a physical pranayama, but a spiritual pranayama. And then finally, chakra shodhana, purification of all the 7 chakras. When the chakras are not pure, then there is so much suffering in life. But when the chakras have become pure, your body becomes pure, your body changes the smell becomes, the smell of the body, the odor of the body becomes sweet, pleasant. And also you achieve happiness. Basically, you are constantly calm and happy. So that is the 5th lesson. And then 6th lesson is dhyana. Dhyana, special form of meditation, very direct form of meditation. And in that form of meditation, it is very easy to go into samadhi. So those are the 6 lessons. So normally I suggest people, because the first lesson itself is a great treasure and a great challenge also. So in my previous experience, when unprepared disciple starts to practice this Ishvara Pranidhana, he cannot handle it. The speed of life becomes so fast. The speed of development becomes so fast, person cannot handle it. So they drop the practice, they leave the spiritual path. So I prepare people. So what is preparation? Practice 100 hours of Bhavanam Kevalam meditation, which I am teaching in the basic course. Then participate at least in 4 collective meditations. I will leave the link later on under this video where you can join to have a satsang, to have a collective with whom you can practice the collective meditations. So participate at least 4 times with the collective meditation, and also to go through the course, preparatory course before initiation, before the first lesson. So these are the requirements that I give to the disciples to prepare them. Okay, so I have finished my questions which were prepared before. So now I will read the chat and I'll answer you. Namaskar Dada, Namaskar. I like to meditate lying down. I have only been doing it for a few weeks. Is it okay to do it in this way? It's not bad, it's okay. But if you do it like that, there is a big chance you fall asleep and you cannot mobilize your energy completely. So the best is to sit. Best is to sit in the lotus posture or with the legs crossed. That is the best, with a straight spine. Namaskar Dada, brothers and sisters around the world. Sending love from Cape Town, South Africa. Wow, Sophie, thank you very much. So nice to hear. Namaskar Dada, how do I start to meditate? Whenever I try to sit down and focus, I become restless and get the urge to get up and go other seemingly more important things. Okay, you start meditate twice a day, 10 minutes. 10 minutes is the simple start. There is not so much resistance of the ego. You feel, okay, 10 minutes I can do, no problem. And then you set up alarm clock and then forget everything. Just sit until the alarm clock beeps. And next week you make 11 minutes, morning and evening. Next week make 12 minutes, morning and evening. That is the minimum. If you want to sit 20 minutes after that, no problem. But you know that I have done my minimum, so you're slowly building up that stamina. And when your mind becomes more calm, when you remove that restless energy from the mind, then you want to sit more and enjoy. So go gradually. Namaskar Dada, I fear that doing lots of meditation will demotivate me for worldly success, which I do also want. As meditation makes you unattached from anything of the senses. What are your thoughts? Okay, one example is from my life. I was flying to somewhere. I was going to retreat to Israel or something like that. And while in the plane, I was meditating, and the idea came that when I come back to Sweden, I will record 800 videos for the entire year. So they can be published entire year, because otherwise I am always traveling, it's difficult to give time. So when I came back, I only had 1 month to complete that, to record 800 videos. And I realized that if I don't do better meditation, I will not be able to fulfill it. I need meditation to get enough energy to complete my work. So I was so meticulous. Like I would sit in the morning 3 hours to do meditation, and then the whole day I would work and work and work and work and work, and then I completed 800 videos in 1 month. And then now again I'm recording, and I was a little bit less strong in sadhana, in spiritual practice. And then, you know, even to record 1 video a day was a big struggle. So then I decided, okay, no, I have to come back to very, very strict routine. So you wake up very early, and then you sit for a long time in meditation, and then the whole day you have lots of energy, you have lots of power, you have inspiration, you have motivation. I don't understand how people do it without meditation, because that is the most important thing, to have power, to have motivation, to have clarity of the mind, to not do things which is unnecessary, to have a learning capacity, to have the receptivity of the mind. You need all of that, and you get it by practice of meditation. So it's just like sharpening your tools. You know, you are cutting the wood, you need to sharpen your saw. So you cannot cut lots of wood with a dull saw. So meditation is a very integral part of life. Don't worry, you are not going to be, you are temporarily disconnecting from the world, and it makes you more authentic, because once you connected with the world, you are trying to adjust with the world, you are trying to, you know, please the world. But the real success comes when you are very authentic, when you are connected with yourself, and when you are courageous to follow your dreams, when you are courageous to follow your own idea. And this is what meditation gives you. Yeah. How do you deal with traumatic samskaras in meditation? How do you remove them? How do you deal with extreme negative thought patterns in meditation? Do you ignore them? I acknowledge them. I acknowledge them, I let them be, and I also admit that this is also consciousness. This is also a form of God. Even it is an ugly form, but it is the full form of the divine also. So I try to see that divinity. So when you try to see the divinity in darkness, then you shift your attention towards divinity. You don't struggle with thoughts. You release them. You let them go. Let them be, and let them go. And focus on the divine. So slowly that your focus on consciousness, it will overpower those distortions in the mind. And then also you can help yourself by doing asanas, physical exercises. They also normalize your emotions. By doing service purifies the mind. Yeah. I disagree on the cannabis and mushrooms teaching. It depends on the purpose of use. Cannabis can be used for pain management, especially for lower back pain obtained from meditation. Cannabis oil especially. Yeah, maybe oil is okay. I don't know to use, but when you smoke, when you have the substance, it is a tamasic energy. It is the dark energy. It is no doubt a painkiller, but painkiller you do not use normally. You need to remove the pain, not by killing it through medicine. You need to remove the cause of pain. So I have no problem. I sit in meditation and I stretch my body. So there is no problem. There is no pain there. And yeah, so better solve the problem and not just to suppress the symptoms of the problem. Namaskar, Dada. Could we say desire necessarily implies lack and division, but offers comfort to the ego, which seeks to control and assert its existence? Does liberation arrive when we know nothing? Desire actually is a spiritual thing, is a power. So it depends where your desire is directed. Without desire, you cannot move. So desire to the material world is definitely harmful for the spiritual life. But when you transform that desire and you start to desire the spiritual world, that is called bhakti, that is called devotion, that is called love divine. So it's a transmutation of the desire. So you achieve liberation when your desire is complete. As long as there is gap between the supreme and you, there is a need of desire. There is a need of driving force, the force that drives you towards that nucleus, an attractive force. And then once you merge, of course, there is no more desire. Then you become desireless. You become, So that is the process. But as long as you are separated, you need to feel desire to merge with the source of your existence. Namaskar. I would like to receive the initiation, but I would like it to be from you. I am from Mexico and I know you are far away. Is it necessary to do it in person? I would love for you to be my Dada. I would also love you to get initiation, and I would love to teach you if you prepare yourself. Yes, we are a little bit far. Sometimes I'm in India and many times I'm in Europe. So you can just fly. Many people, they come for our retreats. They come from USA, for example. So you can come, be here in the retreat and receive your practice. Do you recommend doing asana before starting meditation session? I have 1 hour. How would you split it? For the beginners, it is the good idea to practice first asanas and then practice meditation. For the advanced practitioners, it is better to practice meditation and then later asanas, because asanas will calm your mind and will open the flow of your energy. So you will be more calm and more energetic. So your meditation will be much better. How to split? I would give, depends. Maybe half hour for asanas, half hour for meditation. Or 20 minutes, 40 minutes. Yeah, it depends on you. Dada, I'm practicing the 3rd lesson. I'm having a little problem with posture. There, a hard one. How can I do better the 3rd lesson? The 3rd lesson is tapa, is a penance. So you sit and there is lots of pain involved in that lesson. Slowly on your feet there will be some very thick skin forming and the pain will decrease. So there is no advice. It's just you have to sit, you have to suffer through that. You have to overcome that. You have to rise above the pain. The pain is there, but your consciousness is much more powerful, is much stronger. So instead of focusing on the pain, you have to focus on the chakra and focus on your ideation, on the mantra, and then you will see your mind rises above the pain. And after some time, you will not be also sensitive like that. That pain will not be there. So 3rd lesson is very powerful. If you practice it 20-30 minutes in one sitting, you will see there is so much energy and so much strength and charisma and clarity you achieve through that lesson. Sadhakas from Belgium, being in Grihastha life, how to attain a balance between our practice and daily chores. Often we get a huge urge to disconnect from worldly affairs. I think the balance is already there in the daily routine. In the morning you wake up, you do meditation, and then you go take breakfast, and then you go for your work. Then again you come back from your work, you do your sadhana practices, and then once in the 3 months you come for retreat. A retreat gives you so much charge, you get lots of energy and motivation. So the main thing is to maintain the rhythm. First rhythm is to practice twice a day meditation, individual meditation. Second rhythm is to practice once a week collective meditation. And the third rhythm is to practice once in 3 months or at least once in half a year a retreat. Then in that kind of rhythm, you will never lose momentum of spiritual life. It's just like a bicycle. When you're moving on the bicycle, you are pressing the pedals. And then while pressing the pedals, there has to be rhythm. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, right. So that's how you move. In spiritual life, the main thing is the rhythm. Maintain the rhythm. And don't compromise with the rhythm. Always twice a day, always once a week, and always once in 3 months. Then you are in family life. You will be, great saint. Pranam, how important is self-study? I feel although I study, the understanding is only at intellectual level. Although I meditate, most of the knowledge is at intellectual level. Intellectual level is the beginning, so you need to keep thinking about these things. Like my father used to come to me and knock me like this and ask, is the pot cooking? I was saying, yes, it is cooking. So what he meant is that I constantly have to think. I have to constantly digest knowledge. I have to ask million questions about knowledge, about what I understand. And then slowly, the knowledge from superficial intellectual, it will become deep intellectual. And then once it has become deep intellectual, once you have a great clarity in your mind, then you start implementing this knowledge in your life. You start living this knowledge, and by living this knowledge, you get spiritual realization. Yeah. What advice can you give us concerning the headache we get when we attempt to watch in between the eyebrows, as this asana for the eyes can be quite painful? Well, I would not advise you to do at this stage this practice. I would advise you to do instead meditation practice. That will be much more effective and much more rewarding to you. Yeah. Do you recommend drinking coffee? No, I don't recommend. In fact, I want to record a video why your brain needs meditation more than it needs coffee. Coffee disturbs meditation, and in meditation you can get much more power than you can get from coffee. How to approach meditation during long-term illness? How to appropriately improve intuition to know how to accommodate body's needs and continue sadhana? Well, when we are sick, we feel lack of energy, we feel very weak. So we have to just maintain formality. You sit, like I had when there was a COVID pandemic, it really struck me very hard. So for several weeks I was sick. But I meditate every day. I meditate every day, several times a day. Just sit and try 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. That's all. I didn't break my sadhana. And I also participated in collective meditation. Sometimes I would just come and join online, and then people are like, wow, Dada, you be merciful to yourself. And I'm, no, I'm not going to miss collective meditation. So that time, my students, they really understood the importance of the collective practice, and they became more strict also. Yeah, and then sometimes long illness, sometimes you cannot achieve concentration, but you can do something which is not requiring so much concentration. You can do kirtan. When you sing kirtan, your mind is getting purified. So you can sing kirtan by yourself, you can download meditation steps up, and then we have lots of kirtans there. So you listen to the mantra, you sing, you ideate, and that will be your practice. Yeah. Thank you for your service to others, Dada. Thank you so much. This is my great joy and happiness. I ask for your blessing to maintain a steady practice while having young kids and full-time tech job. I feel always tired and low energy. My blessings are there. With the divine help, may you succeed in your practice. May you get energy and motivation. And may your kids grow as a spiritual and genius beings. Thanks for sharing your words of wisdom. Thank you. Sometimes in my mind want to address the Supreme, and I say God, and then I think maybe I should say Baba instead. Should I correct myself? I think there is no any restrictions on you. There is any way how you can address. That's your personal relationships. Baba is great way to address, means my divine father. And God is also consciousness, whatever way you like, you can do that. There is no restriction, actually. It depends on your feeling. You try to experiment with many feelings and try to find where is the connection more. I think Baba is very powerful way to connect. Thank you, just found you and so grateful. Wow, very good news. This summer I want to record like the very comprehensive vision of all the practices that you need to know to achieve a really perfect life. So please keep following meditation steps and keep learning. I promise you in 1 year you will be a different person. You will feel like, wow, why didn't I find it earlier? It's going to happen. Namaskar, Dada. What is the recommended time to a meditation session for advanced practitioner? Okay, for advanced practitioner depends how much advanced. Like for myself, to maintain a very good flow, I need at least 3.5-4 hours per day. For moderately advanced person, it's already good if half an hour morning and evening. For a little bit more advanced, 1 hour morning, 1 hour evening. Like this. I think you misunderstood my question, Dada. In meditation, our eyes have to watch in between the eyebrows, the third eye. No, you don't have to do that. Are you saying for now, in the beginning, this isn't so important? Yes, it is not important. There are practices like that, but in meditation, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. Rather in meditation, what you do in meditation, you curl your tongue. You make your tongue like this, and then try to touch into like a nozzle, holes there. You touch it there. So that is it's called Kechari Mudra. That's good enough. Even that, if it is so difficult for you, you can relax the tongue. Yeah, mostly you focus on the concentration. Dada, I have a question. I stopped my spiritual practice for a year now. As I have experienced in my last 10 years of practicing meditation that whenever I am disciplined in practice, a lot of misery comes. Okay. You know, the samskara, when we meditate, the samskara is getting matured. So if we had some bad karmas, we have to express that bad karma. So that is what is so-called misery. So, but I'll tell you one thing. Like, for example, a boy of 7 years old is carrying 30 kilos. It will be very hard for him to carry. But if a very athlete man, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger, he carries 30 kilos, it will be okay. No problem for him. So one way is just to become stronger. When you do meditation, you develop the power. So you have to do meditation in a hard way. Just sit there with a tremendous concentration, and you will find that there is no challenge in the world that I cannot handle. I can handle every challenge, and this misery will not stay with you. Once I got a very strong advice from one senior teacher. I asked, Dada, when I meditate, I go into the state of chaos. My mind becomes chaotic. I don't know how to rule over this mind. My mind, some tendencies of the mind, they just assert themselves very powerfully. I cannot control my mind. He said, if in this moment you do not give up, very quickly you will progress in the next stage of meditation. Just don't give up. Continue, pursue the spiritual journey, and you will overcome all those miseries, and you will feel. You meditate until happiness. Like sometimes, some situation comes in life, some difficult situation that you have solved is one kind of mirage, one kind of scarecrow, which is not real. Sometimes it seems very real, but it is only a lesson which is given to you by God to make you stronger, nothing else. The moment you learn your lesson, it will disappear. So what I do, I have so much events in my life. Sometimes I don't want to open my phone. So many things happening because I guide many disciples. Also, I have to do the management of organization and things like that. So things are happening, but I sit in meditation until amidst those problems, I feel happy. When I feel happy and calm, then either problems they resolve themselves, or I find the way how to resolve them. So my advice is not to give up, but to push forward. Go through the forest. Come out of the forest, come out of the woods, and then you will see you are in the clear. Okay? Yeah. Dada, I have a question. Stop. Okay. Dada, does one get a new name when he is initiated? Yes. Also, I am curious, what does Dada mean and what does your name mean, Sadananda? I apologize if this is too much a personal question. Okay, Dada means brother. So it is an affectionate way to treat a spiritual teacher. Dada. So we have a guru and we call him Baba. So Baba means father, affectionate father. We also use Baba Nam Kevalam mantra, which means Baba in mantra means dearest and nearest one. What is dearest and nearest? It is your inner consciousness. The consciousness which is one. In you, in me, same consciousness. That is Baba. And also we call Guru as Baba, as a father, and the one who has represented that kind of consciousness, that divine consciousness. And the teachers who are representing the Guru we call Dadas. So Dada means brother. So affectionate way to call the teacher is Dada. And Sadananda means, it is my name. Sadananda means Sada Ananda, eternal bliss. So the person who is eternally blissful. This is the meaning. Probably Sophie was asking about third lesson. Personally, I believe it's better not to do it. No, in third lesson, well, we cannot discuss it here because it's a little bit private, but also we do not look here. But it's getting better after asanas. Okay, Namaskar Dada, I am recently diagnosed with attention disorder. I struggle with focus, including meditation. Have trouble organizing my thoughts and speech. How do I meditate and overcome my challenges? Slowly build up your stamina. Everybody has an attention disorder, not only you, everybody. Me also, I have attention disorder. But I've built my attention order for many years. So you build that stamina. In the beginning, you cannot concentrate for a long time. In the beginning, you cannot. You concentrate for 10 minutes and then you're exhausted. And then after some time, you can concentrate continuously for 3.5 hours without moving your mind. Your mind is just going into the point. And that is very powerful. That is very enjoyable. So build up your stamina of the mind. Slowly, slowly. Over the time, you will build it up. While practicing Santosha, how to perceive the negative aspects or Shadripus, but also stay satisfied, seems like a lie sometimes, and even becomes impossible to remain calm internally and externally. You know what is Santosha? Santosha is contentedness. I'm happy now. Because why? Because I have decided to be happy. I have decided to be grateful. I have decided to be happy. So why we are unhappy? Because we do not realize our happiness. We are not aware. We think we suffer. So we are aware of our unhappiness. We are aware of our suffering. But we are not aware of our happiness. So then repeat to yourself. Okay, I have 2 legs. This is good news. 2 hands. Good news. 2 eyes. Good news. I have a human body. Good news. I have eaten breakfast today. Fantastic. I'm not hungry. I can practice meditation. Wow, best news. I can watch YouTube. Fantastic. So if you enumerate all those benefits that we are enjoying, we are living better than the kings in the past. So yeah, become aware of the good things in life. That is how you practice Santosha. Who is Baba? Okay, Baba, in one way, we call Baba our guru. His name is Shishyananda Murti. And in India, every guru is basically, they call Baba. Even when I walk in the streets, they will ask me, Baba, Baba. So Baba means affectionate father. And in mantra, Baba Nam Kevalam, Baba means dearest and nearest one. What is dearest and nearest? Your hand, your leg, your body, your mind, your thoughts. What is dearest? Your eye. Within that eye, there is consciousness, which is the central point of your existence. So that is the dearest and nearest one. So, and that spirit is all pervading. It is throughout the entire cosmos, that universal spirit. So spiritually, we call Baba that universal spirit. Dada, I am Parameshwar. Have not been doing sadhana for 25 years, but by watching you makes me want to do DC and practice again. Wow, victory! Rameshwar, wow, it's so nice, so great to hear. I feel that I spent this 1 hour with very much use. That was very useful time. So the questions are over. I thank you for your participation in this meeting, and I encourage you to follow meditation steps. Watch the videos. Please watch them all the way to the end to support the algorithm, because this spiritual knowledge today in the time of entertainment is not easy to keep people interested, and the algorithm also interested in your videos. So support meditation steps by liking, commenting, sharing, and practicing. The most important, practicing. And we see each other one day. I loved spending time with you. I wish you very, very good day, and namaskar.